Every spring, Jewish families gather to celebrate the faithfulness of God and to remember the miraculous deliverance from the bondage of Egypt through a ceremonial meal known as the Passover Seder. In part 2 of Passover, A Deeper Look, Dr. Jürgen Bühler shares an added dimension of celebration, not only for Jewish people, but also for us as believers in Yeshua the Messiah.
And as they celebrate it, they commemorate, again, like we said, the pierced and the striped body of our Lord that was broken for us. He broke it, and at that point, he broke the tradition of the Passover Seder. And he said, "Take and eat it, this is my body." He then took, after the meal, the cup, and then he blessed it, and as he was handing it over to his disciples, he said, "This is my blood that was shed for you." And what Jesus was telling his disciples, he said, "I'm the Passover lamb. I'm the one who is shedding my blood for you and giving my body for your atonement." So I believe this was an unforgettable Passover evening for the Jewish people, and for us as believers it's important that we are reminded that communion is not a new Christian tradition that the Roman Catholic Church or any denomination started, but it was a part of a regular Passover meal. Whenever we celebrate communion, we actually are re-celebrating one segment of every Passover meal that the Jewish people are celebrating, in a way that Jesus says, "I'm the fulfillment of that." In the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 30, he says, "And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives." And usually you overread that, but at the end of a Passover, there is a passage that is called the Hallel. And the Hallel is a selection of psalms. It is Psalm 115 to 118, and those psalms are read at every year's Passover celebration. So when Jesus was installing and instating the communion with his disciples, he didn't stop there and says, "Okay, now we are in the new covenant," but he actually continued with the Seder, with the same tradition like all the people in Israel. They were singing the Hallel, the same psalms that the Jewish people are singing today all over the world. And my favorite psalm there is Psalm 118. And in Psalm 118, you have the very famous passage. It says, "The stone that the builders rejected, he has become the main cornerstones." And of course, we know about whom that speaks. It speaks about Yeshua. The other favorite passage is the next verse, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," or in Hebrew it says, "Baruch haba b'shem Adonai." And I believe we all know where Jesus said that. It was just a few days earlier, before Passover. He was standing on the Mount of Olives, overlooking Jerusalem, and he says, "You won't see me again until you say, 'Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.'" Baruch haba means welcome. That's how you welcome people into your house. Jesus says, "I will not come back until you welcome me back to that city." And I would say, let's just say this prayer together, and let's pray this to the Lord that he might come quickly. Let's pray, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. And at the very end of the Passover Seder, probably the most famous passage in the entire Seder is recited. It says, "Le shana haba b'Yerushalayim." And this little sentence kept alive for thousands of years the yearning and the dream of the Jewish people. One day we come back to our homeland. And what a powerful statement that is, to finish a Passover Seder, a prophetic statement that one day the Jewish people will come back to this land, will be fully restored. And with this, I wish you all a happy Passover.
If you missed part 1 of Passover, A Deeper Look, visit icej.tv to learn more. Thanks for watching Encounter Israel.